All right. Welcome, everyone. Let me begin by introducing Sharad Sachdev. Sharad is the global lead for AI-powered customer experience at Accenture. He has been at Accenture for 12 years, and his practice is focusing on redefining customer experience for B2B and B2C companies, and he has led and overseen numerous transformations that AI-driven customer experience at many, many different companies. So Sharad, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's start with a little about your work. Tell us about Accenture's Gen AI-powered customer experience practice, and what does your team do?
Oh, sure. Maybe I go back to early 20th century to tell what we do. So I don't know how many of you, at least you have seen in the movies, the time when you have your local grocer, your local baker, who knows exactly what bread you want. When you go into your local store, they know what you do, what your family is all about. The bookstore knows exactly the books you like to read. In fact, they have 3 of those already waiting for you. There was a time we used to live like that in the global village. Then came the mass commercialization on large bookstores, and we went for efficiency. Somewhere we lost personalization. Now we talk a lot about personalization. What we really want today is the new frontier of an efficient personalization, where you know me very well without losing the efficiencies that the industrialization has brought us. Right? It's very difficult to achieve, but it's a strong vision to have. That is what our practice is all about. How do we make personalization happen for every single consumer out there, no matter what your needs are? And how do we make that happen through technology, through culture change, through employee training, all of those aspects coming together? That is why we partnered with Cresta to make that happen for many of our clients.
Great. All right. Actually, Sharad wanted to talk about some spicy topics, so let's just jump into it. So 95% Gen AI pilot failed, according to the MIT report. So based on your experience, you're probably seeing some of those pilots. Tell us examples why it failed, and tell us examples that are successful pilots, why they succeeded.
Great point. And Ping is right. We talked about it. We're like, we should talk about something that's spicy, that's worth talking about. So yes, a lot of Gen AI pilots are failing. I'm sure you guys have all read the MIT reports out there and why they are failing and what's happening. Just from our lens, as I look at many of these projects and pilots, there are 2 key drivers why a lot of these pilots are failing. One driver of why pilots are failing is companies are willing to take the technology in because the technology works, but not willing to change the culture that goes with it. If I do something in 6 steps today, I want to do the same thing in 6 steps tomorrow with the new technology. Right? I'm not willing to move to 2 steps or 3 steps in doing it. We see that, I'll take a simple example, technical troubleshooting. We all as consumers know things break in the house, whether it's my mobile phone, whether it's the smart devices, my TV. A lot of companies are organized around it, where they will have a tier 1 structure, a tier 2 structure, a tier 3 help desk, tier 4 help desk. We have all experience. When I call and say, my home security doesn't work, they're like, okay, let me try something. Then let me pass on to a specialist. Well, that's not the device I deal with. Let me pass on to another specialist. I don't have to do that anymore, because the technology will tell me. We just talked about agent assist earlier, right? Just now. The technology will tell me exactly what I have to do. I don't need to be a specialist. Someone is guiding me. I need to be more empathetic. Am I willing to restructure my workforce around this technology? That is one barrier. The second barrier is a technical barrier. When I run my pilots and I run my POCs, I like to run them in pristine environments, right? Where everything has been curated, the data is provided exactly the way I want it. Pilots work very well. The moment I take it out of my pristine environment, now I'm not set up for that large-scale data integration, sharing of the context to the AI assistant and other capabilities, and boom, it stops working. So when I'm planning my pilots, my POCs, I have to plan for my cultural friction. Am I willing to change? And I have to also plan for my technical friction. Will my real-world technology work just the way it was working in a lab? And the companies that are doing that well, there are many companies that are succeeding. The companies that are doing that well are succeeding. The companies that are not, they are struggling a little bit. That's how I see it. I'm sure you all have your own experiences, and you would love to share those as well.
Great. And we talk about automation and augmentation. At Cresta, we don't think it's an either-or decision. And there's a lot of ground to cover in your transformation journey and with many different customers. What do you see getting deployed, automation and augmentation? What are the ones that are seeing success, and what are the ones that may not seeing that much success?
Great question. I'm sure that's a topic on everyone's mind. How much do I automate? How much do I augment here? We do all believe and want to believe that everything should be fully automated. But the reality, I believe, is going to be very different from that. I feel the best systems are the ones that allow the humans to do what they are best at, right? When I want to engage digitally, I want to engage digitally. I want everything to work well. I want to go from my service need to my upgrade need, everything just in that channel right there. But when I want a human, I want a human. Because I have a specific need, I have an exception. I want to get on the phone with someone who is empowered to solve my problem and doesn't say, hold on, let me look into it for 2 minutes. Then, sorry, I'm not the right guy. Let me pass you on to somebody else for another 2 minutes. And before I know it, it's been 30 minutes. And no one has really solved my problem, right? I want that one human who will really solve my problem. So yes, automation will play a role. If I talk to my kids about how they want to live their life, everything is on WhatsApp or Snapchat or some of those channels. But there are enough people who are interested in talking to someone and solving their real problem. When I'm talking to human, the thing that I'm seeing from an augmentation standpoint, that today's workforce is more focused on what I call TQ. How well do I understand my billing system? How well do I understand my marketing system? Because if I'm an expert in that system, I know which buttons to push to solve a problem. But what if I don't need to know which buttons to push? Could I spend a little bit more time getting to know you and talking about what you care about and understanding what could be the things that matter the most to you? That is the kind of shift we are seeing. I'm seeing a shift in the workforce from TQ to what I call EQ, which has a huge impact even in the way we are thinking about our workforces, the kind of skills we want to develop for our workforce, the way we want to train them. And I'll take the step one step further. One of the things that we have done is we realize we as Accenture have strategy business, technology business, operations business. So we have our own workforce that's handling conversations for our clients. A lot of the training our operations workforce gets from the companies that we work with is more around learning about the billing systems. Exactly what your workflow is. How do you solve it? One of the things we don't get trained on very well is the EQ side. So we felt that we could actually use generative AI to train our people on EQ. So imagine a normal process where our agent has just shown up, he has gone through a few calls, and now he's ready to take call. How will he learn how to have better EQ, how to handle different types of emotion? What if generative AI was the teacher for it? What if the first 20 calls coming to him or her are actually not real customers, but a generative AI calling them? Generative AI is frustrated, generative AI has the most complex issues, and generative AI is scoring that agent on how well they handled the situation, how well emotionally how they were doing it, what kind of language they were using, and also what kind of compliance policies were they following. We are seeing use of tools like these today that is driving the world of augmentation and training much better, recognizing the right role of the human. So I probably was a longer answer, but that's what we are really seeing, and that's where we are going today.
Cool. And we all know that LLMs are non-deterministic by nature, right? And we've seen some very large companies, especially in the customer-facing type of use cases, they're worried about agentic AI systems. And have you seen those, and what's the main worry, and how do you usually address it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure that's on top of everyone's mind. In fact, more and more deterministic is becoming legacy. So there are two worlds here. We have more of our scripted conversations and scripted flows, and they were the technologies we were deploying probably about 9-10 years ago, right? And now comes the world of generative. The beauty of the generative conversations is it has the human ingenuity and creativity in it. The bad part of generative is I don't know what the next utterance will be because I don't control it, I don't generate it. So the dilemma is, do I stay with scripted world because I know I can test it, I know it's the same every time, but the problem is it's the same every time no matter what my problem is. So my problem keeps on changing, the script doesn't change, right? And that's where we saw a plateau in terms of the service experience, in terms of the conversational experience and customer satisfaction. We are noticing our clients now slowly get comfortable with generative because they are realizing there are new mechanisms to control it, to govern it, to prevent it from saying something silly to the customers by having the right checks and balances. I feel like customers are now getting more and more comfortable. We were actually working with an airline where one of their market is on deterministic and one of their market is on entirely generative. It's really an A/B experiment in the market right now, and we are seeing a huge uptake on the generative side. So I feel like the clients are getting more and more comfortable with it because of the guardrails and the governance that are coming in. Agentic has its own challenges because a lot of agentic things are not even customer facing, they're behind the scene. And as a result, when it's run 1,000,000 times, what if 100,000 times it really doesn't work? And we are seeing, again, new systems come about there. So one of the things I think many companies are not talking about is LLM as a judge. We deployed a capability like that probably 2 years ago, where you have one LLM generating the utterance, other LLM checking what the agent is doing, and third LLM acting as the judge. And if the three don't coincide, it will eventually get escalated to a human. So there will always be a human in the loop. Hopefully, the human will only have to look at 1% of the interactions. So new mechanisms, and I'm sure many more things are coming out, are getting our customers more and more comfortable with generative and agentic. And I generally feel that's where we need to pivot to from the deterministic world.
Got it. Cool. And as you talk to the frontline employees, maybe in the call centers or in the service centers, and what do you usually hear from them? What's their feedback on AI?
That's a good one. When we talk to humans in the front line, when we do focus groups, one of the things we realize is on the standard stuff, everyone knows the answer. But it's the stuff that no one knows the answer, the exception scenarios, that 5 humans will have 5 different answers. They will all be good answers. They have figured it out on their own, not because the company told them, not because it was written in the manual or the policy. These are smart people. They said, I tried this. When you bought this thing from the store, let's say a mobile phone, but for some reason the promo did not get applied, one agent may say, I may send you back to the store. The other will say, I figured out a crack in the system where it allows me to do that. Third may have some other answer. So as we talk to our agents, we figure out how they're able to crack the code and what they are doing that's different. We are then asking them, how would you like to work with AI? What do you want the role of AI to be? And what we are realizing is the humans want, these agents want AI to take care of their administrative tasks. After call work, call summarization, right? The basic, they have to go through 30 different systems. Can I not go to 30 different systems? Can I just go to one system? So I can really spend time on solving the problem and being creative with our customers. The one thing they definitely want in AI is the ability to provide feedback. What they don't want is just to be told what to do. What they want to be able to do is, yes, I get the AI answer, but I don't like this AI answer. I'm a very smart agent. I'm probably in the top 10%. I want to be able to provide feedback to you, and the feedback should then go back into the system. So yes, I want to use AI for all the core tasks. I want my creativity still to be there, and I want to be able to provide feedback on your AI systems. So the next recommendations coming out are keep on getting better and better. So they do want that human in the loop, the human plus AI kind of an approach. And that also allows us to make them better as humans while making the AI better. So that's how we are seeing more from the workforce standpoint.
Cool. And then Cresta journey start with real-time coaching as part of now one of the features of Agent Assist. But we also have been actually quite passionate about using AI agent to do role-play training with the actual human agent, especially for sales, right? And then just like Duolingo for contact center workers. And I personally just passionate about the possibility of AI to train people, to democratize knowledge and education. Like, do you see the training use case, and do companies use AI to train their employees, maybe in the call centers or sales centers or other use cases?
All of the above.
Oh,
And
okay.
call centers and sales centers, as I mentioned earlier, we are ourselves doing it today.
All right.
For thousands of our employees. We are working with many of our clients to do exactly that. There are two kinds of training the way we are seeing it. One is more offline role play. So the customer there is no customer in the scenario at all, and we are training the agent for the first 30, 50 different types of conversations. The human agent is deciding what kind of area they want to specialize in so they can pick and choose. We are also seeing real-time training. When you are already having a conversation with the customer and you're taking the conversation to a certain level, there are nudges coming in real time and saying, well, here is an alternative thought for you, right? Now, it depends on how you want to structure it. Different companies want to structure it differently. Some are a little bit more pushy, more mandatory. Some are a little bit more suggestive. That is totally the company's culture on how they want to run it. But we are seeing use of generative AI as a training tool in a big way, for culture, for EQ purposes, for TQ purposes as well, both in the offline format and in real time.
Great. All right, let's change gear a little bit. We look forward and for the opportunities ahead. And if you have $100 or 100% of your capital, only bet on one or two use case that you think that Cresta should pursue in CX, or if we're not already pursuing, or maybe we're pursuing, we should just double down. What should that one or two things should be?
So I listened to all the things around the Cresta capabilities. You are definitely looking at both augmentation, customer-facing, live translation, multilingual, agent assist capability. So I feel like you're touching all the avenues as a product, very holistic platform and very holistic product that you are investing in. I don't know if I have a very specific point that says put it in one area. I do feel that there is value in both going towards customer-facing and agent-facing capabilities. The blend of the two and the common intelligence behind it that powers the two that you already have.
Got it.
If I was sitting here and making that decision, I would be investing on both fronts like the way you're already doing today.
Cool. All right, so it seems like we're doing the right things. And then another question is for businesses. Some business, they're really early in their AI adoption, and then some are maybe still hasn't started. What do you think are the things that they should be preparing? And we think about knowledge base and cleaning that knowledge base, or maybe update your infrastructure, or anything else like you think that people usually overlook and think that will be usually useful to set up the rails for AI?
Absolutely. I would say, Peng, I'm sure every company out there will tell you they have already started.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there is some version of AI in most companies I deal with as a consumer or as an Accenture employee. Some are on deterministic world, like we talked about. Some are on generative world. The few things that I do notice that prevent companies from progressing further, and that is why you see some much ahead than others. One is we talked about culture change. So having that mindset of evolving your processes. And I did hear some things over the lunch as well, where companies are going bold and willing to change the way they drive process changes. So one is questioning whether that process is really required and reducing the number of steps. In my mind, the human world has always been a world of linear processes. It's a step one, a step two, a step three, and this gets done over a period of 2 days because that's how we do it, because it's reasonable for a human to look at something 4 hours later. The world of AI and generative AI can absolutely be nonlinear. There is no reason for us to have a linear mindset to solve a problem. If I'm solving a technical issue, if I'm solving a billing issue, I already know where I can jump to that next step. So I don't have to. So process redesign is a very, very important part of it. The second area that I feel that makes or breaks the difference is the context in the process. How much data is flowing into that conversation in real time is very important. If a human is talking or a digital agent is talking, if I know you have called 6 times for this issue and this is an endemic issue for you, I will solve the problem differently than if I realize you're calling for the first time. So a lot of investments are going in data flows, in intelligence flows in real time. Some companies are doing better, some companies are not doing as much. The third thing I would recognize is architecture. We are realizing a lot more capabilities are coming in, and companies here, even in this room, we are working with Salesforce, we are working with ServiceNow, we are working with Cresta. All of these things have to work together. So if I can't think of a decoupled architecture where the data is flowing seamlessly and I'm using agents in these different ecosystem partners, and what the role of that company is, I'll have a tough time. The question I will have is, I already have Microsoft here, what do I do here? Right? And we hear that all the time because in one company you'll have many more technologies. So unless we are thinking of decoupled architecture and governance around it, we will always get stuck somewhere. There are many more like that, but I just wanted to give a flavor. It's the data, it's the architecture, it's the processes, and eventually the culture that really will get you ready for the world of the future.
Cool. I really want to make this conference valuable to all of you. So I'm going to ask questions that not CX related. So for people who have kids, they probably, and actually one person asked me yesterday, now there's so much talk about in the media about job elimination, there's coding, you cannot find jobs, and if you are 18 years old today, and what would you recommend parents here and their kids should learn? Or what will you do actually?
So I have two kids. One is already in college. I'm worried about the same thing. So I'll share what I shared with my kid today. I feel the nature of job will evolve. The jobs will always be there. I mean, the jobs, we were worried about jobs probably 100 years ago when all the industrialization was coming. The jobs moved to knowledge workers, right? Back then, we didn't have as much knowledge work. The world is still going to evolve. We are already seeing the need for people who can deal with LLM systems. We are seeing people who will be training and testing many of these systems, right? These jobs didn't exist 10 years ago. Right. So what we are doing now is predicting the skills that will be required in the future, because we know some skills will be required in the future. From my view is a biased view because of the world I live in and the work that I do. I'm sure every career professional out there will have their own view. I see a lot of value in our youngsters getting trained and understanding how these large language models work, how the systems will operate around that. And I'm seeing more and more universities also bringing in curriculum in that space, right? We want to get our people hands-on. One of the things, so we have some of our senior leaders here, John Bowles is here. During lunch, we were talking about how do we train our own new college grads coming in onto many of these systems so they become a lot more hands-on and more comfortable with these platforms. So those kind of roles will always be there. I'm sure if I ask all of you here, you will have your own perspective of where the future skills will be. The challenge with a change always is that there is a batch of people that get stuck in the middle because they haven't pivoted yet to the new, but the world is already moving on. And then the world slowly starts catching up. Then it's moving on, then slowly starts. There's always that people stuck in the middle, which is where we see the noise.
All right, I hope that's useful for kids. And that's practical advice, and I don't want to always talk about Cresta, and maybe you can forget about Cresta, don't forget about kids. Second thing, and I'm sure a lot of people there have money investing in the market, and there are a lot of people talking about, oh, it's new high, and there's a bubble. You see circulatory revenue that OpenAI get money from Jensen Huang and then turn around, buy chips, and I'm sure you have gone through circles and boom and bust, and what were your investment advice for people here? And I want to make sure that you guys get some money advice too. Get the kids advice and money advice. You can leave without worry about Cresta.
Okay, complete disclaimer, this is my personal, not a professional advice. I'm no financial advisor. I have made money on many of these companies, so I have invested my stock in many of these. When I am feeling uncomfortable with what's happening today, I go back to the late 90s, early 2000s when we had the supposed internet bubble. Many companies did go out, but many companies like Amazon and Netflix and many others, they survived and then came up. Same thing is going to happen in this phase also. There's huge value. Our lives have changed since 2000s, right? I mean, I'm sure whether it's Android smartphones or iPhones and the world of apps and the way I check into my airline when I'm at the airport, the world is changing. And it will change in the future also. And there are companies that will do awesome. the big trick here is to figure out which companies are really going to get that market share and they will survive, and how are they pivoting. I've been looking at NVIDIA for a long time when they were a pure gaming company. During COVID, my kids played gaming, so I knew they were going to be okay. I could not have predicted at that time where LLMs and everything was going to come. No one could have predicted at that time, right? So we are all following the market, and all we are trying to do is figure out which companies. I do have a little bit of an edge because as Accenture, we get to partner with the likes of Cresta and NVIDIA and others, so we do understand how and what they are doing very, very well, and which is why we are partnering. And we see a lot of these companies doing extremely well in the future.
Great. All right, I hope that's useful too. At least leave with some useful stuff. And the last thing is, Accenture, we're very grateful you're both partner and investor at Cresta. So if members in the audience want to partner with you on maybe some projects with Cresta, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
First of all, I'm here. And then we have John Bowles, who's one of our senior leaders. We have Maggie here. We have a strong army behind us. It's a very, very important partner for us. That's why you see us here talking about Cresta. We're doing a lot of work together, and we would be happy to share with you our experiences offline.
All right. We still have 5 minutes left. Any audience questions? All right. Oh, Rachel.
So this is a lot of computing power. How do you think about being in a world that can be more sustainable but still have this type of computing power?
Yeah. Everything boils down to energy, and I think the energy will likely be the last bottleneck. What do you think?
Micro LLMs, yes. So one of the things, so all jokes aside, one of the things we are seeing in this space is LLMs are very expensive for our clients, right? If not used the right way. And part of what we think about when we think about solutions is, one, do I really need to use LLMs for everything? Should I have a blend of more traditional rule-based systems, deterministic systems, and generative systems? The second thing that we think about is, do I really need massive models or smaller scale models? Because I'm going to point my specific use case to a very specific data set or a very specific world, highly trained in that, requiring a lot less compute power. So from our standpoint, as a company that's building different kind of solutions, we are doing it anyway because it is more economical for our clients, and of course it has the sustainable benefits. But I think there's a bigger question you're asking that goes outside of this room probably, is as the world of LLMs is evolving, what are different companies doing to compress those models to give you the same effectiveness while not requiring as much compute power? So I think there is a two-part answer. One we can give, one the broader ecosystem has to provide you.
Cool. Any other questions? Oh, in the back? Oh, in the back. Oh, Ashish.
Sharad, question for you on the BPO side of the equation. What do you see the future of BPOs and how companies like Cresta can actually help in their transformation, given where the labor arbitrage focus has been so far and where they're going to go in the agentic world?
Very good question. We are already seeing that shift, and in fact, Ping and I were talking briefly offline. The world we are seeing to shift is the world BPO will become a blend of humans plus agentic systems. Right? The humans will still be required. And the only thing is the shift will be, is it a 60-40, is it a 80-20, will depend on the process. We ourselves are reinventing ourselves. If you listen to Julie Sweet or Manish Sharma, our senior leaders, we are talking about how we are disrupting our own business exactly with that mindset. Because we know that's where the world is going. We know the world will be agentic plus human. Each process will dictate its own equilibrium, right? So a lot of the back office processes may become a lot more agentic than they are today. Some of the customer facing may have a slightly different balance, but we are definitely seeing a huge shift in that direction.
I think
we're ready to make
I think we're running out of time. Thank you so much, Sharad. Thank you.
Thank you so much.